I'm Dhruti, you're watching TimesXP and welcome to the top US news today. An Indian worker on an H1B visa is facing problem while trying to get his visa stamped in India because of his past arrest, even though the case was officially dropped. This happened after a small car accident where he left the scene after talking to his insurance company, not realizing that this could cause legal trouble. The police started a case for leaving the scene of the accident, but the district attorney decided not to take any further action and dismissed the case, saying that there was no need for a court hearing. Even though the legal case was closed, the arrest still appears in the official record. Well, this has caused difficulties because the US consulates in India take any arrest very seriously when processing visa applications, no matter if the case was dropped or not. Many H1B visa holders with similar situation experience something called 221G, that's an administrative processing. This means that visa approval is delayed, sometimes for weeks or months, while the consulate investigates further. During this time, the applicants may be asked to send more documents or wait without clear information on when their visas will be approved. In the meantime, experts suggest that visa applicants bring very important papers like DA's rejection letter, the police report, insurance papers, and a letter from a lawyer to explain the situation clearly to the visa officer. These documents help show that the case was closed and there was no wrongdoing. This situation highlights a common challenge faced by many H1B workers. Even when a legal issue is resolved, it can still create uncertainty and delay in the visa process. Do you know, back in 2011, Google made a very surprising move to keep one of its top employees, Neil Mohan, from leaving the country. Neil, an Indian-American tech expert, was already playing a big role in Google's advertising and YouTube strategy at that point of time. Another tech giant, Twitter, now it is known as X, wanted to hire him as their chief product officer. Neil's former boss had joined Twitter's board and they were just hoping to bring him in. But Google didn't want to lose him. To convince Neil to stay, Google reportedly offered him $100 million worth of company stocks. This offer wasn't just handed over at once, it came in the form of restricted stock units that would become his over a few years as long as he stays at Google. Now, this kind of stock-based deal is very common way that big tech companies hold on to their top talent. In this case, it kind of worked. Neil chose to remain with Google and continued working on products that would shape the future of YouTube. You know, Neil's story began really well before this moment. He studied electrical engineering at the world's famous Stanford University. After graduating, he worked at Anderson Consulting, now it is known as Accenture, and later joined a company called Net Gravity. The company was bought by DoubleClick, and Neil quickly climbed the ranks. When Google bought DoubleClick for $3.1 billion in 2007, Neil became a major part of Google's advertising team. In 2011, Neil had already become one of the key minds behind Google's product plan, and he was becoming more influential in shaping YouTube's future. Well, the decision to keep him on board with such a massive offer turned out to be really smart. He continued rising within the company and played a critical role in growing YouTube into what it is today. Interestingly, Neil Mohan wasn't the only person that Twitter tried to poach from Google at that point of time. They also tried to hire Sundar Pichai, who was leading Google's Chrome browser and Chrome OS project. Google responded by giving Sundar a $50 million stock grant to keep him from leaving. Like Neil, Sundar also stayed, and today he is the CEO of Google and its parent company Alphabet. As of 2023, Neil Mohan became the CEO of YouTube, taking over from Susan. His journey shows how valuable talent is in the tech world and how far companies like Google will go to keep their best minds. Indian students who are planning to study in the United States may face some serious challenges this year. Former Indian ambassador to the United States, Arun Singh, has advised students to be very careful and make a plan B. He suggests that the students should look at other options besides the United States, such as studying in India or choosing a different country like the UK, Germany, France, Australia, or even Ireland. Well, this warning comes at a time when the US government is making it harder to get student visas. Under US President Donald Trump's immigration policies, some of which continue to influence current processes, embassies have been asked to stop giving new student visa appointments for now. The US is also planning to introduce stricter checks on social media accounts of all visa applicants. Students already have to submit their social media handles, but this screening is likely to become more detailed and serious. So, students need to be very mindful of what they post online, as it might affect their visa chances. According to Ambassador Singh, there is no clear information on whether more visa slots will be opened this year, and the number of visas issued might be much lower than usual. Earlier, the US made special efforts to give visas to international students, but this year, that kind of support seems to be missing. This uncertainty is making it difficult for students to plan their studies, specifically those who were counting on starting colleges in the US soon. However, Singh also sees this moment as a chance for Indian and American universities to work more closely together. India's new education policy now allows foreign universities to open campuses in India or form partnerships with Indian institutions. If American universities collaborate with Indian colleges, it could give Indian students a chance to receive the same kind of education without having to travel abroad or face any visa trouble. Apart from visa issues, by the way, Singh has mentioned the situation on US campuses, which are also changing. There has been many student protests on American colleges, specifically around global issues like conflict in Gaza. Now, because of these protests, some universities have faced punishments, funding cuts, or pressure to control student speech, and this includes Harvard. Singh says that students should think about what kind of experience they want, not just academics, but also campus life and freedom of expression. The idea that American universities always follow free speech might not hold true in today's environment. Still, the US remains a top destination for higher education, specifically in fields like science and technology. Many Indian students have gone on to achieve great success after studying over there and have helped build stronger connection between India and the US, both in business and diplomacy. International students are also very important to the American economy. They bring in about $45 billion each year and help create or support more than 300,000 jobs. Since international students pay higher fee than the local students, they are a major source of income for US universities. Currently, Indian students make up about 30% of all international students in the US. Over 1,000 Indian citizens have been sent back from the United States to India since the beginning of 2025, and this is according to the numbers given by Ministry of External Affairs. This development reflects the growing cooperation between both India and the United States when it comes to dealing with migration, specifically the deportation of individuals who are living in America without proper legal status. According to Ministry spokesperson Mr. Randhir Jaiswal, around 1,080 Indians have been deported from the US so far this year. Interestingly, about 62% of them returned to India using regular commercial flights, which means that their deportation was handled through civilian travel channels, not special government chartered planes. Jaiswal emphasized that India cooperates closely with the US on identifying and accepting back Indian nationals who are found staying illegally or who have entered the US without valid documents. This situation is part of a wider trend where the US immigration authorities have become stricter, specifically under the Trump administration renewed focus on enforcement. Many Indian nationals who overstayed their visas or crossed the border without proper documents are now being identified and removed through the legal procedures. Well, in a separate issue, Jaiswal also addressed concern related to Indian students who wish to study in the US. Currently, the Trump administration has made changes to the visa process for foreign students, including Indians. Reports say that the US government is planning to introduce more detailed background check, including review of applicants' social media profile. A recent directive reportedly issued by the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, instructed the US embassies, not just in India but around the globe, to pause new interview appointments for student visa applicants under H1B visas. Well, these are the visa types commonly used by international students and exchange visitors. The halt is said to be temporary and connected to a planned extension of security screening measures. This move could delay or prevent some Indian students from starting or continuing their education in the US. The Indian government has expressed concern over the matter, stating that student welfare is a top priority and that Indian students should be treated fairly. Chinese President Xi Jinping's daughter Xi Mings is back in the spotlight with the very new rumor that claims that she might be living in the United States, possibly in the states of Massachusetts, under very heavy security. These reports, though unconfirmed, have become major intense after a far-right activist in the United States, Laura Loomer, publicly threatened to confront her on camera. Loomer criticized Xi Mings, calling her a communist, and questioned why she allowed to stay in America. She also claimed that Chinese security agents are protecting her in the US, which has added more drama to the situation. Xi Mings is known for staying out of public eye. Born in 1992, she is the only child of Xi Jinping and his wife. She studied at Harvard University under a fake name from 2010 to 2014, where she earned a degree in psychology. Well, before studying in Harvard, she also studied in the university in China. After graduating, she reportedly went to China, but some unverified news stories say that she might have returned to Harvard for her further studies in 2019. Nobody knows for sure where she is now, and both the United States and Chinese governments have stayed silent on this matter. China has gone to great lengths to keep information about her private. Well, even pictures and basic facts about her are removed from Chinese website and social media as well. In one shocking case in 2019, a young Chinese tech worker named Niu Tengu was sentenced to 14 years in prison for allegedly leaking Xi Ming's personal information online. Human rights groups say that he was punished unfairly just to send a message that the government won't tolerate any exposure of the ruling family's private life. In 2022, a US lawmaker also said publicly that Xi Mings was living in the United States, but no government official, either American or Chinese, have confirmed this. Still, the fact that she might be in the United States raises important questions, specifically now that the American government is planning to crack down really hard on Chinese students who are coming to study. Recently, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced a new visa policy that directly targets Chinese students, specifically those with connections to the Chinese Communist Party or those who want to study high-tech fields like artificial intelligence, robotics, and military technology. Under this particular plan, the US will start cancelling visas for these students and carry out extra background checks on applications from China and Hong Kong. Officials say that this is to protect the US national security, but the move is also seen as part of growing political tension between Washington and Beijing. Now, in response, China has strongly criticized the visa crackdown. Chinese government called it unfair and said that it is clearly based on ideology and politics and not real security concern. Faizan Zaki, a 13-year-old Indian-American student from Texas, has won the prestigious Scripps National Spelling Bee in the United States. Well, this major achievement just came 1 year after he finished as the runner-up in the same competition. Faizan's win is being celebrated across the country, specifically among the Indian-American community, where spelling bee success has become a proud tradition. Faizan is not new to spelling bee, by the way. In fact, he has been competing since he was just 7 years old. He first made it to the national level in 2019 through a wildcard system. He qualified again in 2023 and reached the semi-finals, and last year he was the runner-up after losing in the special lightning round tiebreaker. That loss taught him an important lesson, and this year he came back stronger, more focused and determined to win. During the finals, Faizan showed a relaxed and cheerful attitude on stage. Dressed in casual black hoodie, he approached each word with confidence and joy. But there was a dramatic moment when he made a mistake on a word. Well, not because he didn't know, but because he started spelling it too quickly and without asking the usual question like definition or language of origin. He caught himself, but by then it was too late and he had to sit down. Fortunately for Faizan, the other two finalists also made mistakes in their turns, giving him another chance. When his final word, Eclair assessment, was announced, Faizan didn't ask a single question. He spelled it right on the first try and immediately celebrated by pumping his fist and falling to the floor in joy. This moment marked the 100th anniversary of the National Spelling Bee, and Faizan's win became one of the most memorable in its history. Faizan's success is part of a long line of Indian American victories in the spelling bee. Out of the last 36 champions, 30 have been of Indian origin. Can you imagine that? This tradition started in 1999 with Nupur Lala, whose journey was featured in the famous documentary Spellbound. Faizan's own parents moved to the US from South India, and he has been studying words for years. His father proudly called him the GOAT, the greatest of all times, and said that Faizan knows the dictionary inside out. You know what makes Faizan unique is not just his spelling skills, but his passion for words. Even when he is not preparing for a competition, he enjoys looking up rare and old words just for fun. He was coached by three experienced mentors, Scott Rummer, Sam Evans and Suham. But they never tried to make him over serious. Instead, Faizan kept things light-hearted and fun. His coach Evans even said that he's crazy. He's having a good time and doing what he loves. This year's Spelling Bee was one of the most exciting in recent times. There were 3 perfect rounds and stretched where 6 spellers got 28 words correct in the row. Vivek Ramaswamy, a very well-known Indian-American businessman and former Republican presidential candidate, recently shared a touching post on social media to celebrate his 10th wedding anniversary. In the post, he shared how he met his wife, Dr. Apurva Ramaswamy, at a college party in 2011. He invited her on a hiking trip to Flat Top Mountain in the Rocky Mountains. During the hike, a snowstorm forced them to turn back. But she comforted him by saying that they would have a lifetime to complete it. Now 14 years later, and with 2 children, Karthik and Arjun, they finally returned to finish the hike, celebrating their decade of marriage. Ramaswamy, whose parents migrated to the United States from Kerala, India, is currently campaigning to become the governor of Ohio. He posted 2 photos with his wife, one from their original trip in 2014 and one from the recent anniversary hike, along with a heartfelt message reflecting on their journey together. However, instead of warm wishes, the post attracted a wave of racist and anti-immigrant sentiments, specifically on social media platform X. Many users attacked Ramaswamy for his Indian background. Some told him to go back to India, while others mocked his skin color and made offensive remarks about his family. One even asked when his father would be deported. Well, these comments quickly went viral, drawing a lot of attention to the growing problem of racism faced by migrants, even those in the public life. This hate also comes in light of Ramaswamy's changing opinion about H1B Visa program, which allows skilled workers, specifically the foreigners, mostly from India, to work in the US. While he's running for president, Ramaswamy had criticized the program, saying that it needed major reforms and was being abused. But earlier in his career, he had supported more foreign talents coming to the US tech industry. Critics online accused him of being hypocrite, suggesting that he would support the H1B system again if it benefited him or helped Indian workers in particular. Some even accused him of wanting to favor Indian immigrants if he wins the Ohio governor race, based on the assumptions that Indians hire Indians. That's it for today. For more such informative videos, do follow TimesXP.